Just remember, Neil, start it off with a Halloween theme or something like that, mate.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live stream. Okay, happy Halloween, everyone, as well. It's obviously Steve's got his creepy Amstrad behind him with his ghost hands, and he's where's your cup?
Yeah,
my little goblet of death.
Right. Okay. Do you want me to? We've got two guests tonight, haven't we?
Yep.
Okay, we've got Tim from Retro Corner, and is it Duncan from Retro Crazy? Is that correct?
Yep, Duncan from Retro Crazy and Tim's Retro Corner with Tim.
See, I'm stuck now.
They'll be on just shortly in a little while. So how have you been getting on, Josip?
Yeah, I've been lately not doing much, but mostly I didn't have much time to do videos on my YouTube channel lately, as you can as you already saw. But I'm having lots of fun on my Facebook groups, programming in BASIC and stuff like that. So we have those little tasks and stuff to do. So that's pretty interesting for me. So yeah, most times I'm doing just that for now. Yeah, that's about it.
Cool.
Yeah, you, Lee, what have you been up to? I know you've been having some trouble with a new mod you've been doing.
Yeah, I've been having fun with these Lumicode boards, and the latest one is I think it's faulty. Apart from that, I've got some boards on PCBWay, and yeah. So I've started putting together an MSX. So yeah.
Yeah, I think we've all had goodies from PCBWay, haven't we? Well, most of us. So I've had some Spectrum boards, and these Ataris have been built as well, these Uno carts. But of course, when I went to test it on the Atari was playing up, and it was constantly hitting fire buttons. So I couldn't actually select anything, because it selected everything. So it's like a little IC. I don't know what number it is now. It's 8050 or something. I had to basically short two legs out on that IC to stop it from firing. It's some sort of logic chip. I don't know how it works. Basically, by shorting the legs out, you bypass that chip and you can use the fire button again.
There's no logic.
There you go.
There's no logic to it.
Have you sorted it then?
Well, I bypassed it, yeah, and it sort of works now. So occasionally, when I move up, it fires, but that's about it.
It sort of works.
Yeah, well, at least I can use it again.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And Steve, what have you been up to?
I've been a little bit on the quiet side just lately, but again with PCBWay stuff that have been sending us through. I've done the Tesla coil video that are quite amusing. Great fun with that. And obviously I've been building the C64 cartridges that are on the way. I do have plans in the future to make more of these, to alter the artwork on them, and do some other things like, I don't know, Spy versus Spy, and maybe Monty on the Run or something like that, you know. But these that have been made, I can't quite remember his name, who made them now, who designed them. It's gone out of my mind. But he does some great stuff, and there's quite a lot of these boards on PCBWay that you can buy and just populate the boards, burn your EEPROM, and off you go. But he's only done about 8 or 10 maybe, or something like that. So I want to do some other ones that he hasn't done with popular games and things like that. I have thought about doing one for the Empire Strikes Back game that came out recently, but I don't know whether I want to do that due to Disney and copyright laws and and things like that, if you know what I mean.
You could have an
So-
attack and a snow speeder, couldn't you?
You could, yeah,
Yeah.
you could.
Cool.
Or I thought about just putting them in a case and just putting a label over the front or something like that.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. Yeah, it'd be good.
Empire Strikes Up, let's call it like that, or something silly like that. I don't know. I just want to do some different stuff, that's all, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
I am going to be putting another order in at PCB Way, so I'm hoping that I'm going to be getting maybe a new 1581 board and giving that a try. I did do an episode nearly 12 months in November since I built that board, believe it or not, Lee. But we've had great fun with that. I've sent it to Lee, he's had a look at it. I sent Lee a board, and he built it up himself, and it does exactly the same as what mine does. So there's either a fault on the board or the boom list is wrong or something like that. But we haven't had a chance to dig into that. But obviously, if they get this new board through and I put it in and everything cracks up and fires up and it's hunky dory, then I'll pull down that shared project that I've got on PCB Way for that at the time being. I'll just delete that off and then just point everybody towards this new board that's been built that actually works. So I'm going to try and ask if PCB will actually build it for me to save me doing it for a change. Most people with PCB Way, they get the boards and they show you them building it up. But I want to show from PCB Way what their production is like as well.
Yeah.
You don't get something that's automatically built from them. So that's in there. There's a few more boards that I've got. There's a few MSX cartridges that I want to make because I'm going to crack up with the MSX 64K that I've got. I've got 2 of them.
You know, I've got them boards coming as well.
Have you?
Yeah, he's building MSX.
I told you I've got a load of cartridge boards coming.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So there's lots of things coming up that's going to be on the channel over the Christmas periods and things like that. But yeah, that's about me really. What about yourself?
Myself, I've just been on, like I say, mainly doing the Atari. I've still got that 1541 to look at to desocket that. I've been pricing up the bits for the Harlequin board, but I don't like the price.
I had a look at the bomb for that. Jesus, they've used HC chips for everything.
Yeah.
It's like the rarest chip you can get hold of, and they've used it for every part.
Yeah, you can get them from AliExpress, obviously. I mean, you can get everything from AliExpress, but it's just not. Yeah. I tried it on Mauser, and it came to about 90 quid on Mauser.
Yeah.
And then I tried it on, and I thought to myself, I can buy a Spectrum for 90 quid. So do it or not. And it's not a proper Z80 in it. It's like a, well, it isn't it? Isn't what they call it?
If you do get them from Ali, then at least you'll get 10 of each chip.
Yeah, well, 100 of each. There was one with 100.
So the other boards you've got, at least you'll have kits for.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I say,
yeah.
Other than that, I've been, like I say, what did I try? Tried that new heat thingy. That was good. My new hot plate.
I right enjoyed that really. I was right impressed about how easy it would. But the one thing in my technical mechanical mind is you know when you taped it down, the board down, then you put the stencil on the top. What are you creating that little tiny gap that's higher up of the thickness of the tape when you put it down?
No, I know what you mean, but I don't think so. I only taped over there as well.
Well, when it heated up and it all clumped together, then you'd have less solder balls and less solder there. Well, and you could have probably put that tip straight on it and just done it all in one.
Yeah,
is what I'm thinking. Whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know, mate, because I've never used one.
It's only basic because they cut out the legs for some reason. I didn't want to solder over the legs, so I just taped over it. And also, it holds it in place as well, because that stencil's quite difficult to line up, even though it's so big.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked anyway.
It did. I just thought if you put the board on the other side and lined it up and then taped it to the inside of the stencil sort of thing.
Exactly. Made 3 of them.
You'd have a definite uniform over the top of the board, wouldn't you? And you wouldn't have all clumping and stuff. You might have got away with putting everything on the board at the same time then.
Exactly.
Well, just an idea.
What I did was I got a bit of MDF and I screwed down 4 spare boards.
Yep.
And then put the one I wanted to do in the middle so it's all the same height. Then put the stencil on top of that.
Yeah.
You can get stencil clamps, can't you? Like a big
I just
machine.
taped it down.
Yeah.
That was huge, wasn't it? It was huge for a postage
Yeah,
stamp.
I don't understand that. Mine was like that big.
Yeah, show you, look.
Only thing I could think of, Lee, with that is maybe they would have used that in their factory and they would have put lots more onto it and it'd been loads.
It came in, look. And then I got this out and I thought, what the hell's this? There was one little stencil in the middle.
Jesus.
At least you've got a picture frame. You can put one of your boards with it and put it up on wall.
That's what I thought, yeah. I put it up on my wall like that with a couple of boards.
You can always lay it in as scrap. That'll get you a few quid.
I thought the same thing as well, to be honest. When I first saw that, I thought, what did they send me? They sent me something free here. And then I opened it and thought, that's not the stencil, surely. Like you, Lee, I was thinking something about this big.
That's how big mine was.
Yeah, because I used stencils like when I used to work on MacBooks for the SMCs and stuff, and they were tiny little things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got 360 ones, Xbox 360 ones. They're about that big.
That's it, yeah. Same as the mobile phone ones are like that as well. Stuff like that, yeah. And yet that's just, I don't know.
I think it's for their machine, you know, their production machine. Whether they probably machine them stencils out like loads of them all over that sheet, and
they just asked me what the stencils. So yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I have no idea. But
yeah.
Oh,
it's crazy.
Well,
do you want to call the other two on and ask them, or
who do you want in first?
Oh, you, Tim.
Okay.
You're a lot better than this than me, you are.
That's because I've done more of it, mate. and to be fair, I've probably only done about 6 streams, to be fair.
This is my first one, so excuse me, everybody. He's pressing the buttons for me.
So first up, for one of his first guests, is going to be Tim from Tim's Retro Corner. How you doing,
Hello.
Tim?
How you doing, Tim?
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween. What have you brought for Halloween?
I've got a printout.
nice.
That was cool.
I think I saw that on your TikTok. Was it TikTok?
Yeah.
Bit short, wasn't it? Bit short.
It took just over an hour to actually print it, and that produced like 1 minute of video.
Just over an hour to get 60 seconds. That's good. And you got your eat button as well. That's good.
And it's like a little letterbox, narrow sort of phone format, vertical thing. So you can kind of barely read it.
Looks cool though. Looks cool. I like it.
Yeah.
What was that printed on?
That's my FX80.
Nice. On a C64.
C64, yeah.
Nice.
Go.
Nice.
Master Plus.
None of this Amstrad shit.
What do you mean? It's in the spirit world, mate.
Crazy. So what?
Yeah, because Adrian Black did I think it was a Patreon only video a couple of days ago that he was printing stuff out on an Epson and he was using Print Shop.
Mm.
But I think he was using a PC version. So I thought I better get that Halloween poster done, and of course, do it on the 64.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I wasn't aware of
What
any
else
stuff
would you
like
do it
that.
on? Well, I mean, an Amiga, obviously, but
Yeah. That's the second choice. Yeah.
I don't have Print Shop for the Amiga, so.
Ah.
Cool.
Okay, so what else have you been up
And
to?
of course,
Tim?
the light up
Budget-wise.
sign, Sainsbury's like $4.99 or something, P. I saw it in Sainsbury's and I thought, yeah, that'll do. Why not?
Yeah, why not? I went out
This
looking.
video is not sponsored by Sainsbury's.
I actually went out and I was looking for Jason's hockey mask. And I'm going to put my blue overalls on and bring my Rambo knife out.
Call that a knife.
God, yeah, McDundee. That ain't a knife.
Right, okay. Next person we got is Duncan from Retro Crazy.
Good evening, folks.
Evening, Duncan.
Hello, Duncan.
Hi, Duncan.
So, how's everybody this evening?
Well, good, thanks.
Good, very good.
Yeah, good.
Thank you for inviting me back.
You're welcome.
Welcome anytime. What have you been up to, Duncan? What have you got? What things have you been doing?
Well, since I've last been on, it's been a very surreal time. One of the videos I was working on when I was on was the salvage Commodore 64. That got a lot of traction, and my second video in that part series didn't come to fruition in time because I was still waiting for parts. As we all know, you order and you wait until the seller decides it's time to ship.
Yeah.
So I did a filler video, and that filler video was nickel plating, and it's taken off. I was invited, well, I didn't get invited on, but I got a message from This Week in Retro, and they featured it not this week but last week. And I've seen a huge influx of subscribers since then. So anybody that's watching that's subscribed, thank you very much. It's been a bit of an eye-opener. So I then started two projects. I decided I was going to do a Game Gear, and just to cheer Lee up, my Amstrad CPC 6128. And you'll be glad to know I broke some of the springs on the 6128 because they were seized solid, so I've had to order up springs and hope I can get some that will fit. However, the Game Gear, I also suffered a Lee issue where after full assembly and getting everything done, it didn't work. So I am currently fighting with our friends, our sellers on AliExpress for the resolution to that one at the moment. So that's what I've been up to.
So what do you do to the Game Gear? Have you recapped it and stuff?
I picked it up from a friend's brother. It was in okay-ish condition. It's been fully recapped with a set of ceramic recaps. But I decided, because of the condition it was in, he said the D-pad was loose and needed tightened.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no such thing as loose and tightened on a Game Gear. The casing, the upper shell had a small chip out of it round that D-pad, and when I actually opened it up, the D-pad itself, other than two small tiny pieces, the entire lip that holds it in was gone, was missing.
Okay.
And the carbon contact pad underneath was also damaged. So I thought, if I'm doing this and I need a shell, then I'm going to do something a bit different. So I picked up a shell and then decided, well, that's nice, but let's change the buttons, which ended up in, let's change to a glass screen, which ended up, well, if I'm doing this, I may as well do the IPS screen, which was then followed by, I've never done a LiPo battery pack conversion, so let's do the clean juice. And then decided, you know what, maybe I should just get an EverDrive as well.
Yeah. Right down the rabbit hole.
Completely and utterly.
It's out of nowhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
But my viewpoint is this will end up being my daily driver. As far as the Game Gear is concerned, it will do absolutely everything I would want out of a Game Gear, including having battery life.
It's very strange on them.
Yeah. It's 6 AAAs each time and not fun.
Exactly. Okay. Tim, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I might be going down the LiPo battery conversion route myself at some point, because I've managed to acquire about 4 Mac PowerBooks of various vintages, from a Duo 230 up to, I think it's a Mac PowerBook. Sorry, no, PowerPC 3400C, which was like the fastest. What was it? The fastest laptop at the time, 1997. So that could be fun.
Nice.
And I've recently done a couple of videos on the Plus 4, which I built a new power supply for it, and then somehow managed to kill it, and had to fix it. And Duncan lent me his what do you call it? Diagnostic cartridge. Yeah. So that was good. Thank you, Duncan.
You're more than welcome. Hopefully, it was useful.
There was an interesting thing actually. It said several of the ports had failed when they hadn't.
Bad connection. Normally on the
joysticks,
I think the joystick connectors. I get that with
it
my
was just within the serial port.
Yeah.
And the keyboard would only register if I held it down.
Okay. Because I've used that diagnostic cart myself in one of my videos, and it certainly worked fine.
But I
don't know.
I need to put. Well, the plus 4 worked fine at the end of it, so I concluded that it has to be connections.
Yeah, could be a dirty cart port or something like that if you're using diagnostic port.
Yeah.
I mean, when I built them Ghostbusters cartridges, I built 10 of them. I checked all the chips before I put them in. I burnt all the chips correctly and checked them all exactly, put them in. And when I tested the 10 boards, only 3 of them worked. And I was like, what? So I took them across to another Commodore 64, and some of them worked, and then some of the others didn't. And they were like, that's a bit strange, is that? So I cleaned all the cartridge ports up, and it worked. Spot on, all 10. So sometimes it can lead you down a rabbit hole, can't it? You know, I was thinking maybe heat's got into the chips and damaged one of the chips when I put it on. Have I done something wrong? You know, because the others worked, and they were all uniformed. So I was thinking, and then I used IPA on top of the EEPROM to clean some of the flux residue off it, and the cotton bud went black. So it was taking black paint off it, and I was thinking, I hope these aren't bad chips.
Yeah, that sounds like an AliExpress classic.
Yeah. Checking all the cards, taking them back off, changing capacitors on them and stuff like that, trying to make them work, and it turned out it were a dirty cartridge port.
Oh, that's good then.
Those plus 4 keyboard cables are absolute shit.
Yeah.
It's a kind of ribbon cable that is God knows where.
I know what you mean.
I think they must have got it from AliExpress.
I will tell you what, the worst cables I have ever now on the Commodore CD TV, the one that joins the LCD display to the board. You basically push down this connector, and they're like there's 3 ribbons, and they're just very fine pieces of wire that stick in, and you just look at them and they bend. They are horrible, honestly.
Yeah.
The Atari's just as bad. The Atari keyboard's got that horrible mylar fucking carbon backed shit, the same as the plus 4.
Yeah, that CD TV has been the worst Amiga I've ever worked on. I don't want to see another one again.
Speaking of that, the next thing on my bench is not going to be a CD TV. That it is going to be, you can see it in the background actually.
32.
Nice.
Yeah, they're good.
Boxed at all.
Yeah.
You don't need that box, Tim. You don't need that box. Send it down to me.
We can have a live unboxing.
Go. Well, while I was getting that out, I just want to say, because Amiga Mike's in the group,
He's got
the Northwest Computer Museum, the Amiga group get together. You know the one we went on, Neil.
Yeah.
That's going to be on the 18th of December. I'm toying with the idea of going.
December.
I don't know yet, but he did ask me, Mike, if I were going. Not December, 18th of November, sorry.
I was going to say if it's December, I'd go. November, I can't go because I'm away that weekend, unfortunately.
18th of November, it's on there. Next one, I think, coming up in New Year, I think there's a Leeds one, which is Horsworth, which is too far from me, so I'll definitely be going to there and taking some stuff with me.
Yeah. Okay.
What's up, Lee? What are you laughing at?
Are you right there, Tim?
It's got a Mega Drive in it. It's been missold.
even got the
Ollie.
There you go. Complete with the plastic bits.
Well done.
Yeah.
Oh.
Controller. Soggy silica gel. Consumer information. Getting started guide.
Look at that. It's got everything.
Wow.
And in the plastic bag.
I'm not jealous.
Look at that.
Does it eject and stay open?
Serial number. Oh, manufactured November 1993.
I think they all were, wouldn't they?
Sorry?
I think they all were. I think it only ran for a little while.
Exactly, no, run for 2 months. I don't know.
Yeah, there was probably only one batch made, I suspect.
Yeah, I think there was.
So,
What conditions it in?
well, the case is pretty good.
I bet the caps are in backwards on the power line.
Take a
Look
look.
at that, it stays
Let's have a
open.
look.
That's good.
Let's have a look. Let's bring him up.
Can't say much else. The screws are not rusty, so that's a good sign.
Nice.
Nice find that was.
Made in the Philippines.
Well, don't worry about rusty screws. We'll get Duncan to plate that shit.
Ironically, the screws are one of the things that didn't work plating.
CDTV demo disc. Alfred Chicken.
Catch you later on, Peter.
Yeah.
Liberation.
Good game.
That's that is the best game on there.
Pinball Fantasies.
Great
Nice.
game.
Bunch of PD demo discs. CD32 Gamer. Oh, a little plastic thing in a little bag, like a.
The D-pad, isn't it? It's like a D-pad for controller.
That's a that's a D-pad controller
Yeah,
with
that's
sticky back.
yeah.
Sticky back.
That's
Yeah,
the thing with breaking the controllers.
Well, it's apparently the crap in original controllers.
Yeah. The upside down controller.
Diggers
That was all right.
and Amiga CD magazine. So good chunk of CDs with it, and the manuals.
Nice.
So whether it works or not, I don't know, but we're gonna find out.
Well, just a tip for you, Tim. With some of the CD32s, I don't know what it is, but some of them take about 5 or 10 minutes to come on.
All right, okay.
You switch it on, it does nothing. Power light comes on, it doesn't do anything at all. You just sit and wait, and then if it's by magic, it just sort of lights this drive up, and then it boots straight in.
It's bound to need recapping. So
Yeah, mine's been recapped. A recap power supply, it still does the same thing.
Ain't there something with a CD32 where all the SMD caps are back to front or something like
No,
that?
that's the main power caps. They were printed wrong on the board, and then they just sold them in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a guy on Friday wanted to get home, and he just put plus and negative on and legged it, I think.
So are they put in the same way that it's printed, or just put in backwards?
No, they're put in the same way as printed, but they're printed wrong on the board.
Oh,
So you
right.
basically have to take them off and swap them over, basically.
So ignore
You'll
the
see anyway. You can see that positive is on the ground.
And if you're wanting a better controller, you can pick one of these up. Get them on eBay. They're about 20 quid.
What's that? Looks like a SNES controller.
Pretty much, yeah. But it's got the buttons on the fronts as well, you know.
Where'd you find that?
On eBay.
Never seen them.
Yeah, I'll send you a link later on. I've still got it in my save list.
And it's got the dreaded brick of death as well. So I don't know. I don't know whether they'd improved them by that time, but it's
the original power supplies, I think, are all right for them.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought they were switchers.
It's just
well, that's spin all over the floor. Yeah, weighs a ton.
Oh, that's the brick type, isn't it? That's the old Commodore 64 brick type.
Yeah, they're the best
rectangular one.
Yeah.
So after this is over, I'm going to be picking up bits off the floor. That'll be fun.
Do you tell us what you paid for it?
Let's all have a guess and see who's closer.
I didn't.
You didn't?
Oh, wow.
Right, take him off the stream. You've got a bargain there, mate. Absolute bargain.
Someone just gave you a CD32.
Sorry?
Somebody just gave you a CD32.
Yeah. Do you want this? Yeah. Do anything for it? Nah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
That's great.
Last year, somebody gave me a Amiga 1200. So, yeah.
Weren't the same person, was it?
No.
Oh. Well,
that's nice.
No, so they're the only two things that I've ever been given, and nice things.
There's two things to be given: a 1200 and a CD32. You're doing bloody well.
Exactly. You can't complain, can you? Especially with boxed as well.
That's unreal.
Do you know what I mean?
I suspect it's been in his attic since like 1995 or something.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Nice.
What do you mean since 1993 when he first got it?
Get the Mega Drive out.
I had it long enough for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It doesn't also CDs. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of money just in that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay then, right. Seeing as it's Halloween, what's your most favourite, I'd say, retro horror game? I bet you're all going to say the same thing.
Silent Hill.
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil.
No, Silent Hill, PS1.
That was a good one as well, to be fair. I love both of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Resident Evil does it for me.
Yeah, Resident Evil, definitely.
I've never really played horror games, but on the Amiga there was an Elvira game, Jaws of Cerberus.
I know why you like that one.
And
That's definitely.
And it was point and click.
click.
It was a point and click adventure. That was quite good.
Did you get the nude patch for it?
Sorry?
Did you get the nude patch for it?
No, I didn't even know there was one.
Oh, you didn't know. I was asking to see whether they were or not.
So somebody just mentioned Alone in the Dark.
That's a cracking game.
And Dracula on the Intellivision. I don't know that one.
Don't know that one either.
No.
Alan Wake were good on 360 as well. That were a cracking game.
No,
yeah. I like
the winner of the most fucked up, weird ass horror game goes to Ecstatica on the PC. Did you ever see that?
No.
Oh, that's like these weird creatures beasting donkeys and stuff.
What?
Okay.
Honestly, look up Ecstatica, right? It's just somebody must have been right off their tits when they made that one. Honestly, check it out.
No way. What about? Steve, I thought you were going to say something else. Something that you got planned.
What's that?
for your live stream. I thought you were going to say that game.
Oh, my live, yeah, sorry, I've gone way away with that. But yeah, I've got the live stream coming up, which is on the 31st. What that's going to be about is
There you go.
Red Dead Redemption, Undead
This is a
Nightmare.
great game.
I've played it before, back in the day when it was first released on the Xbox 360, if I'm right. But I haven't played it since then, if you know what I mean. So it's going to be like a whole new experience again playing that. So I'm looking forward to that. It should be great fun.
Yeah, that's good.
I enjoyed the Blackpool Expo. That were absolutely cracking evening, a cracking day. I think next time we said we were going to plan, didn't we, Neil, that we were going to go for the full 2 days and have an overnight there.
Yeah, I think everybody should go to Blackpool Expo.
Yeah, we should.
Just a really great time. I mean, you go in, all the arcade games are there. I mean, if you take the younger generation, I could took my lad. He'd never been in a Star Wars cab, never been on Outrun, anything like that. So he got to experience all them. And he actually enjoyed it, didn't he, Steve?
Yep, yeah, absolutely cracking. Even your last did, we lost her for 2 hours. She was sat playing Tetris.
She's transfixed on Tetris, wasn't she, on the stage? Yeah. For about 3 hours, we lost her.
Yeah, fair play to her though. You know, that's what she's like. She's enjoying. Crack on.
Yeah,
that was
absolutely 32 there, was it?
No, I mean I have thought about it before, and then I thought, well, how do I want a lot of public manhandling a CD32? I've also thought about my SX64 as well, because you don't see them there either. But again, you might get somebody nicking cable or something silly like that. I mean, I'm only presuming, you know what I mean? And they're all great guys that are there, and
yeah,
exactly, I just don't want that chance of my gear getting damaged, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, there's no Atari 2600 as well, which is strange.
No, there won't. So what a thought on that. I mean, Duncan, you were going to go, weren't you? But you went down to Cave, didn't you? Down to the
I did. I was down with a bunch of other retro YouTubers down at the Cave. And if nobody's been, go. It's seriously impressive.
Yeah, I keep meaning to get down there to see Neil down there on that. And I keep meaning to get down as well to see Alex in there. He's a great guy, is Alex in there. So I might go down and have an overnight. Do you know what I mean? Go down, drive down, have a morning in the arcade, morning in the cave, stop overnight, and then drive back up home or something like that.
Yeah, I did the silly thing. I went down on the Friday, left 10:15, got there 4:30, 5 o'clock, stayed overnight, but there was supposed to be a pop-up event in the arcade with a bar. So I thought I'll just drive along to that, get an idea of where it is from where I was staying, only to find the main road was closed for roadworks. And my sat-nav ended up taking me down a road that was technically as wide as my car. The roads round there, don't go off the main road. Do not go off the main road.
Especially around Halloween.
There's enough small, narrow roads you might never be seen again.
Exactly, yeah. Crazy. So, has anybody else got anything planned, Halloween specials, or is it just Steve doing his?
I think it's just Steve.
Just Steve, by the sounds of it.
Well,
hopefully
that's 5 viewers.
Sorry?
Hopefully that's 5 viewers.
There you go. So, yeah. What about future projects? Anybody got anything planned? Future new that you want to release? So let us know about secretly.
I've got this.
What's that?
Which?
Secret weapon.
Secret weapon. It's
IEC.
Commodore 64 IEC to Arduino.
Okay.
Arduino.
Interesting.
It's not a disk device. It is a Arduino device for controlling I2C, SPI, general GPIO, that sort of stuff. But as a Commodore disk file. So if you want to send stuff to an I2C display or something, you just open 10,20,10 or something and print hash 10, whatever you want to display.
All right, cool.
So the idea is to make it really easy to sort of control bigger things than you would do out of the user port.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You know, so it's going to harness the power of the Arduino to do the heavy lifting, and then from the 64 you just tell it what to do.
Nice.
Have you got it going yet?
I've been able to talk to it, but that's as far as I've got.
I'm like that with a wife.
And this is all Josip's
That weekend.
She's obviously not watching because there's no cup come in from the side.
Head sliced off with a plate.
You did bring a key for the door, didn't you? You can get back in.
It's all quiet, look, it's coming.
This is all Josip's fault because it started off with that little temperature video that he did, and it's just led me down this rabbit hole, and the rabbit hole is getting deeper and deeper.
Yes, it does. Yeah, but it's actually pretty interesting stuff when you start connecting different devices to your Commodore 64, and just it never ends. You try to connect whatever you can find, and that's pretty amazing world to enter.
I don't think people realise, but the Commodore 64 were basically a Raspberry Pi, wasn't it?
Yes.
In effect, what you can do from user port, if you know what I mean.
Yes, and for the user port, the most important thing that actually exists on Commodore 64, which was it was at the beginning, it was like negative stuff, but now it's very good because the Commodore 64 doesn't actually have proper RX232 protocol, right? Because it doesn't have the hardware for this. But what they've done, they implemented the TTL logic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this TTL logic fits perfectly with modern devices nowadays, and it works beautifully. So that now the Commodore 64 is better than ever for these type of things, right? Especially once you start connecting like Arduinos or Raspberry Pis and stuff like that, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
It is amazing that a 40-year-old bit of equipment still holding its own, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of vintage computers out there and stuff, but the 64 still holds its own. It's got that user port, like you said. There aren't very many other computers other than Commodores that have a user port that's programmable that way as well.
Yeah.
I thought there was an RS232 in the
Spectrum.
CIA chip.
No. There is no proper hardware for RS232.
The Plus 4 has one, but it's got a UART.
Yes. And it's not very usable. It's not very good in the end. But C64 doesn't have that, so the voltages are not correct. It's not proper RS232.
The hardware for this, the wiring is a bit horrendous, but the hardware for this is incredibly simple. It's literally because the implementation of the IEC bus is open collector. So all you need is a couple of bus drivers and some pull-ups.
Oh.
Yeah. That's nice.
74LS06 and a 74LS14.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice.
And that's it, one for each direction.
Very nice.
Cool. What have you coming up, Neil? What are you doing next?
Well, I was going to do those power savers, for these power bricks.
Yeah.
But I ordered all the parts from AliExpress. They've all come, and I realised that I ordered the wrong boards off PCBWay. So I had to message PCBWay and said, "What have I ordered? This doesn't look like what I need." Anyway, it turns out I've ordered a replacement board that goes inside the C64 power supply. So basically, the resin ones, you can change that board apparently.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
And this is that board that goes in there. So if you want one of them, just give us a shout, mate.
Yeah, get one sent up.
Is that the BWAC that you're building?
Sorry?
Is that the BWAC, the power saver?
I think it might be something like that. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. It's got quite a few bits to it, but
yeah, I think I built about 5 of them. Did the video.
Yeah.
I never actually edited and released it.
Right, it's got 2 LEDs and a buzzer on it, and it makes a buzzer sound if it goes over 5.6 volt or something like that, or 5.5 volt.
Is that the double board with the twin? Because there's 2 versions of the BWAC. There's a single board version which just does the power saving.
Yeah.
And there's a second one that sits on top of it that gives you
readout.
That's right. That's the readout. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it might be a slightly different one you're building then.
Yeah, it hasn't got. I know it's got a buzzer on it because I've got the buzzers, and it's got 2 LEDs, a green one and a red one, and basically it cuts the power if it goes over a certain voltage and lets the buzzer off. So
it's probably a version of the BWAC, but certainly the ones I built didn't have the buzzer.
I test it on my power supply. I can whack it up, can't I, and see what happens.
Yeah. When I built I have to say, when I built my 5, when I did the testing on the trip voltage, they were all subtly different.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
Crazy.
As low as I think 5.4 volts was the trip point on one, and I think the highest I had was about 5.65.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, apparently it's supposed to trip out 5.6, I think, or something. I read.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've not looked into it. And another thing I'll do is perhaps do that Amiga 600. I've got that going now. That's fully working. But what I'm going to do to it, I don't know, because I lost the video when I was repairing it. Unfortunately, as things happen.
Although I had a thought the other day doing the CPC 6128.
Yeah.
When it comes to some of the others, I thought, well, can you actually modify things like the BWAC to work with other systems?
Maybe, yeah.
It's just signals going in and out. You know?
So there's no reason why it couldn't be modified and just change the plugs.
I think
and run it on the different
voltage in it, yeah. As long as it's got the right voltage, the right pins, yeah, it should be.
I think it's just a crowbar circuit using a Zener. I don't think
it does use it. Yeah, it uses 2 Zener diodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything majorly complicated. It just shunts it down.
The one I've seen is a crowbar, for sure.
Sorry, Tim?
The one I've seen is a crowbar. Definitely, with a Zener. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a relay in there as well to...
there is a relay.
Got that out. Yeah.
Yeah. Which knocks it out.
I don't think it's overly complicated. But surely if you've got an Amstrad, you just let it burn.
Well, just for you, I'll let you know that I've got about 6 or 7 that'll be coming up in a video shortly.
Night videos
relays early. Well, there's a bag of relays, look. Ready to go in.
Can C64 emulated? Well, yeah. There's a lot of C64 emulations out there, I think.
Vice is superb.
It is. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Even the C64 is quite good, to be fair, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you want to do emulation on a Raspberry Pi, BMC64 is just phenomenal, and that's just literally bare metal Vice, and it's really good.
I've looked at that. I mean, you've mentioned it to me before on that one, and I have looked at it, and it does look a cracking bit of kit, but I've never sort of ventured down that line because, I mean, I know you love your emulation lead, to be fair, and stuff like that. But for me, it's all about original hardware for me. Emulation's okay for checking things for me, see whether the game works and stuff like that. When you get it off net, bang it in the Vice, let it crack up.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I know it sounds silly because I've got the Ultimate cartridge and the stuff like Kung Fu Flash, and that's all emulation in itself, But if you can get away from using original discs and stuff like that, then yeah, great, good stuff. The load faster and stuff.
Definitely, yeah.
But I still enjoy the tapes because you've got the loaders and the load of music. The music comes along with it.
Do you actually still use
it's not
tapes?
really emulation because it's
Yeah,
still
I
running.
still use tapes as well.
Yeah, why not?
Look at Lee's face.
It's just the most awkward fucking way of doing something.
You're
Right.
100% right.
Shift and run
You
stuff
have
and
to use
play on tape.
back in the day.
Sorry, you do retro repairs, don't you?
Not tape.
I know what you're saying.
I'm not saying I use them all the time, but I do still go back to
When it's
tapes,
broken
and
cassette,
I
when you repair it, the tape keeps coming out of it.
well, that's why you get pencil.
Yeah, my pencil's broken.
I mean, back in the day, we all used tapes because we couldn't afford the fucking ridiculous price disc drives.
This time, yeah.
Now there's absolutely no reason to use that shit.
No,
It's
there's
got that nostalgia feel.
I used to use tape and disc on the 6128.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, that's a different case, right? Because the 6128 discs were like a white elephant, and you're better off using the tape, and the tapes were shit.
yeah.
Actually, I find the 3-inch drives good. Okay, they were tiny, but yeah.
The tape swap out. I mean, you'd get one tape deck and it wouldn't load, and you change it to another and it would load. You know, they were really bad with tapes back then. But the best thing about the Ultimate cartridge is if you get the tap file off the internet, you can use the tap file and re-record straight back over it again.
Yeah.
And the Ultimate actually boosts the signal back out of it, because I've got the load it counter on mine on the side of my tape deck, and when you're loading a normal tape, it comes up to it's got about 8 blocks on it, and it comes up to about 1, 2, 3 on the blocks. But if I record the tape, get over it with the Ultimate and replay it again, it's back up to 7, and it just poof straight through. So you can even. What I did is, you remember the way of the exploding fist when the border changed white? You had to rewind it a little bit and then press play.
Loader.
Yeah. And they were a right pain in the ass wanting to get them to load. So I managed to tune my tape deck very finely to be able to make it load in one, and then I dumped it straight to my Ultimate cartridge, and then I re-recorded over all my exploding with the exploding fist game tapes, and it works perfectly now every single time. So you can rejuvenate the tapes doing it that way.
On the subject,
for anything else as well, if you've got a tap file for the Amstrads, if you've got a tap file for the Spectrums, it'll do them all. Well, the Ultimate cartridge.
Yeah, well, on this subject, I'm going to drop out for a second because I'm going to go and grab something.
Okay.
The obvious ultimate answer is that you get a tape drive for every tape, and you calibrate that tape drive so that you can load that tape.
The problem is, with the Amstrad, the tapes were epically long. And I mean, I've seen some long machines. The Ataris had some really long loaders, you know, sort of half an hour for a game. But the Amstrad, fuck me, it'd get to the end of the tape and it'd just reset.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
It's a bit like the 800 XL, isn't it? Loading tapes with that.
Oh, that's diabolical as well.
Okay. I don't know if you guys have seen one of these before.
Looks like a old iPod.
It's an SVI CAS. They're made by a guy in Australia.
Okay.
Lovely name, by the name of Duncan. And he did this originally as a tape replacement system for the SVI systems. And it sort of grew arms and legs from there. It's got, I'll see if this will pick up. There we are. It's got voltage in, ear, mic, and record. And it's full touchscreen as well. Oh.
Nice.
And this works not just with the SVI CAS, but it'll work with your Spectrum, your Amstrad, your TI-99, your TRS-80 and your Cocos, your Dragon 32, your Commodore 64, your Plus4, your Acorn, your BBC. The list is endless. Not only has he got all those pre-programmed in, but you could actually go in and manually set the whether it's the on the wave, whether it's the upstroke or the downstroke of the wave for the tape loading, everything. I've got to review this yet, and this looks like it's going to be my go-to replacement for pretty much everything.
It's similar to that one that Lee's showing at the minute, what kind of thing.
This is that based off Arduino? Because this is completely different. This is nothing to do with Arduino at all.
That's
this is an early version Mastodon.
Yeah,
and that's got similar sorts of options.
But yeah, have a look at this guy. It's called the SVI CAS. Noel's Retro Labs, he actually showed this originally, so and that's where I saw it, and then I managed to track down the guy in Australia, and I've chatted to him on and off a couple of times, and I've actually had that back. I haven't even reviewed it yet, and it's already been back and had the software updated because he's just brought out the TI-99 option on it, and I just happen to have a TI-99. It kind of happens when you're a collector. So yeah, this looks like it could be an interesting one and all.
Oh. Yeah, it looks like it shows a play button as well on there, doesn't it? Etc. and a stop button.
Yeah, it's the graphic interface he's done is really quite smart.
Yeah.
And it will work off of the remote control as well, so it will automatically stop the tape or the software when there's a pause.
That's cool. That's cool that it can do that.
Yeah,
instigate that.
And the fact you can record to it as well, so you can actually write your own stuff and record it back out.
Yeah, so you can back your tapes up, and stuff like that
Yep.
with it. Similar to what I was on about with the Ultimate cartridge for the 64, you can back up the tapes again.
Yeah, well, it's that suddenly reminded me. I've got that sitting down on the desk.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously, a tape's a tape at the end of the day. I mean, I don't know what it'd be like. I've never tried putting music on it and try and back up a music tape with the Ultimate. That might be quite amusing to try. But obviously, the Commodore 64 is a digital output, stuff like Spectrum and the Amstrads, it's analog output. So I don't know how it'll affect that or not, because I've never really tried. But I would imagine any tap file that you can create with it, you'll be able to write back with it the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool.
I think we've scared Josip off.
Josip, he's done one, hasn't he? He's done a runner.
Yeah, the Arduino-based ones have been around quite a while now. And they tend to work quite well. I've tried them on the Dragon and a couple of other machines, and it's worked right for me.
Sorry, I've just got a bag of grot bags there.
I don't know if you noticed, I got my mug.
Skeletor, is it?
Cheers.
Cheers.
There's one thing that I've had for a while, and I've not really shown it much on my channel, although it is normally in my intros and stuff like that. I've got a Commodore PC 10. I've had it for a while, but I had I think it's a 1902 or a 1402 monitor. And when I first got it, the monitor screen it collapsed into the middle and then disappeared out into the bottom. And it's never been back on. I recapped the board to see whether that would be all to do with it, but CRTs they're not my forte, to be honest. I can have a nosy over them and look for faults and stuff like that, but you need to know somebody that knows what they're doing inside a CRT, really. So, but I've managed to pick up another monitor off the good old Fleabay for quite cheap, for about 40 quid. So I can finally get the unit put together. I might be able to show that in the future videos.
Yeah, so I was just having a check there, and the SVI CAS is written in C and assembler.
Okay.
So a little bit different. But yeah, he does say he was unhappy with all the sort of TZDuinos and all the others that were out at the time.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, and not expensive either.
How much are they?
I think. Now this, I'm trying to remember. It was about £78, and that came with. I ordered it, and he said, "Don't go for every cable you can, because there's about 3 different cables, but that takes the weight to the point where it trips to a much higher cost." So I got the Atari and the C64 cables, and that was about £78 delivered. So not too bad.
No, it sounds okay.
So what is that in Amstrad terms? Is that 4 Amstrads you can get for that?
It depends. Are you talking working Amstrads or not? Sorry?
That's not too bad a price, is it?
No. For what it is and what I've seen it can do, I'm quite impressed. I just need to actually use it now. I've had it a year and a half. I just have so many things sitting.
Has Steve disappeared, or is the camera messing up?
No, he's there in the background.
Oh, he's there. I was going to say, your Halloween costume, do you go dressed as Alan Sugar?
That's the only bit of sugar I've got.
He's been poltergeisted into his background.
Exactly, yeah. Alan Sugar, yeah. You should go on The Apprentice, Lee.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm here, Alan.
Well, you didn't appreciate the coloured keys.
Don't appreciate the fun machine.
You beat me to it by literally that much.
It's because I know you so well, mate. It's because I know you so well.
You had that great game with the aeroplanes and the Harrier command, wasn't it? Something. What was it called?
Harrier attack.
Was it? Is that what it's called? Where you had to take off from the aircraft carrier, fly along and shoot the planes, then go and land again. Played it in green screen because I didn't have colour one, but
It wasn't that one that me and your lad were playing at Expo, were it?
I don't think it was. No, Harrier something it was.
God, I wish she'd washed her hair.
Sorry.
What?
Grab bag's hair.
Yeah, Harrier attack. You're right. That's what it's called.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a good game. Lee's not impressed though.
Nah. I think it's weird. Yeah. It's completely irrational what my problem is with it. I've got no real reason for it, especially with some of the other machines. My first machine was a fucking Dragon. I mean, Jesus. I don't know if you've ever used a Dragon, any of you lot, but
I have, yeah.
I have one. I've yet to work on it.
Oh.
I saw one in Lasky's once. And just
Have you never used one?
No, I have. Yeah, they're entertaining. Every game when I went round there to play, my mate had one. It was every game was Cuthbert in the mines, Cuthbert in space, Cuthbert under the sea, Cuthbert goes to the jungle.
Yeah.
Cuthbert Goes to the Jungle was a rip-off of Pitfall.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
The problem is, right, the Dragon, you had these 2 massive graphic modes you could choose from. Both of them was chunky as an Amstrad, right? And they had 4 colours. So if you went with one mode, it was red, green, yellow, and blue. And if you went with the other mode, it was buff, because it couldn't do white. Buff, orange, pink, and black. So it looked fucking insipid no matter which mode you chose. The sound was diabolical, but it had a really nice processor in it. It had 6809, which was a really weird thing to do.
Was it not a Coco clone?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah.
They hammered the arsehole out of the video signal. It was NTSC, and they hammered it so badly that a PAL TV would display it, and the quality is truly, truly terrible.
Have you still got one?
I got two.
Oh, there you go then.
So bad he's now got two. Yeah.
Exactly, that's what I'm just thinking.
I bet he's got an Amstrad and all.
I bet he
No,
has.
I ain't got an Amstrad. If I was to have an Amstrad, it would be a 6128. I'd rip out the disk drive and put Gotek in it.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
The only Amstrad I ever had was the original PC.
Oh yeah, yeah.
PC or PCW?
PC.
Yeah, they made a load, didn't they?
Yeah.
PC 1512.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Well,
Was it Amstrad that did the Mega Drive hybrid one?
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a
The
bit of a strange thing, wasn't it? I remember going in Dixon's and seeing that running Sonic the Hedgehog and thinking, what's this? Exactly.
That was the era that PC software makers adjusted their software so that it wouldn't run on an Amstrad.
Yeah. Is that what they did?
Yeah. Yeah. That was a weird machine. They had a little cover on the front, I think, you slid from one side to the other.
Yeah. Well, it actually tripped the switch because you could only run the Mega Drive side or the computer side, and moving the cover tripped the switch to tell it which system you were using.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Very strange system.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
an interesting idea, but the only question I don't know is why.
Because they were hoping, I reckon. Yeah, they were hoping, I reckon, to milk into the market for Mega Drive users and get them onto PCs. And the minute you're over to a PC, you're hooked.
Well, the reason why they bought into the Mega Drive, because their last foray into cartridge-based systems was that absolutely diabolical piece of shit, the GX4000.
I was just going to say, mention that thing.
I think it had 11 games on it.
Do you want me to go get mine?
Oh my god! You know what's Duncan? Do you know what's worse, right?
I've admitted it.
System is somebody actually made a flash card for it.
No.
Can you believe that? It's only got 11 games, and somebody made a flash card.
Yeah, but isn't that basically exactly what Commodore did with their games console?
Yeah.
It's a Commodore 64 with the
GS was, yeah.
They took the vastly superior C64, ripped out his keyboard, and then bam.
And bundled it with
They also removed all of the
instant game machine that no one wanted.
They also removed all the tape hardware internally. There was no components for that at all.
Oh no, the one that were all ripped off on it.
Yep, it was never fitted as standard.
No. I can remember seeing
No.
it.
And all the resistance.
I know I've got one.
No way. They're worth a few pennies now, aren't they?
Yes, but mine's not quite what it purports to be.
Oh, right, okay.
I got mine from a local retro computer store a good few years back now, and they had got it with the story that it had been a shop display, and originally it had a short cartridge in the cartridge port.
Okay.
But the cartridge port was a top loader on the game system, whereas this actually had an original 64 board in it, and the cartridge was still in its original position, but the short cartridge was shoehorned in so that you couldn't remove the cartridge without dismantling the system. So apparently it was given to a store as a store display, so it just run, and you had 4 games you could choose from the cartridge. But it was
keyboard.
No keyboard. It's all done through because they've got is it a 2-button joystick?
One.
Was it a 1-button? There was something different about the joysticks that wouldn't allow certain games to run on them. And I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 buttons. There was. I can't remember. I would need to look it up. But when I bought it, the store had started converting it. They'd already taken out the cartridge and sold it, which I was a bit gutted about. But they'd started altering the cartridge port so it would actually face up in the normal position. So I finished that off. And when I powered it, I was so disappointed not to find the game system ROM, because the game system ROM with no cartridge should flash up saying "Please insert cartridge."
Yes, it should. Yeah.
And this didn't. It actually flashed up to a Commodore 64 screen.
Yeah.
So I've got a weird hybrid, unfortunately.
It's probably
You
worth
can
more
change
money.
the kernel though if you want, can't you?
Yeah, I can flash another ROM, drop it in, and at least I'll get that. But it's knowing it's not original is quite annoying. And it's strange because the shielding that normally sits over the cartridge port in a stock 64 was never fitted. There's never been any solder on those pads. And that has to be from factory. So it leads, or it adds, credence to the fact that this was actually a genuine story.
Yeah.
But yeah, very strange.
Cool.
I do remember them selling a pack that had this fucking cartridge with it, where you could select one of 3 or 4 games, but it required the keyboard to switch.
Yeah, that with the DS. You know the one that comes in it, is it Fiendish Freddy or something like
That's
that? National Soccer and stuff like that were on it.
That's
Games. It was bundled with it, and you could not select it.
Yep.
A bit like the Terminator cartridge, isn't it? Because I can't remember what were on the Terminator 2 cartridge. There was something else on the Terminator 2 cartridge. When you plug that in, you had to press T for Terminator and something else for another one.
Yeah.
But any game that you had to press any key, you were knackered with it. You couldn't do it. So it just flopped on its ass.
Yeah.
It was a real shame.
And that's why mine came with burning rubber.
I like that game.
I never played it because unfortunately it doesn't currently work. So I've got that to look at some point, and it didn't come with its original joystick, which is white.
Yep.
Ah.
They were a bit like the VIC-20 joysticks, weren't they? Were they? Am I right? Is it square? It's only a bit square. It's quite deep, is it? And it's got like a quick shot.
It looks well. The one I think the game system came with, it looks like the Atari 2600 joystick. It just says Commodore in silver, I think, around the top of it.
Yep.
Right.
So I think they got the license off of Atari to clone them.
Or they bought a load off them cheap and sprayed them white.
So who remembers breaking the wrists using one of those playing decathlon?
Oh, yeah.
Breaking the joystick playing decathlon.
Joysticks.
Yeah,
The Atari one here.
that's the one.
Me 2600. One of my favorite consoles. That is.
I think you can get a board from PCB Way that goes in the bottom of them.
With buttons on.
Change them to micro switch.
Yeah, I've heard about that. But I like these ones because they're better. They feel so good. Don't think so.
After the first 30 seconds, you're regretting your choice.
And also, when I press up, it fires. Because it's got a bit doolally, my Atari has.
So that's what I was looking at.
You are?
So that's what I was mentioning about the joystick.
All right.
Ah, it's right.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of a different one, but yeah.
There's a cartridge you're on about that had Fiendish Freddy or something like that on international soccer. Sorry.
Yeah.
They were a strange thing, weren't they?
Yeah, I still want one.
Yeah.
Want one for the collection, obviously.
Yeah, for completeness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing really I'm missing really is a Max, the Commodore Max, the GS, and obviously the Amiga range, you know, like the Amiga 1500, 2000, 3000, 4000.
Too hard to
But
get
at the end of the day, if you've got an Amiga 1200, it's just as good as the rest of them anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
CD32, I think, is the best Amiga to go with.
CD32, yeah, it's cracking.
The best Amiga to go with.
It's
I'd
cracking.
say.
And obviously, I want a CD TV as well. So
I was
I'm
watching
getting there now
one
for nearly all of them.
I was watching
I'd like,
one on
I'd
eBay
like to get some
today.
expansion stuff for mine, I think.
Mm.
There was.
Sorry, Neil, go on.
There's a CD TV for spares repair on eBay.
Oh,
And I was watching it, and it was at 200 quid. It had the 8 meg expansion and the joystick board in it. It said it powers on displays, but it couldn't get rid of CD.
right.
Anyway, it went and went and went. I looked at it yesterday, and it had 122 watchers. And then I looked at it this morning, it had 242 watchers. In the end, though, it went for 406 quid.
It's reasonable, to be fair, for one of them.
It's not bad with the expansion bits in it as well.
I know. I mean, they're up in thousands now for a decent one that's working fully now.
Yeah, it's just crazy for what it is, though.
Great, at least face.
I've got one here, Lee. Look.
Yeah, but it's nuts that you can have a conversation and you say that's reasonable. 400 odd quid for a 40-year-old bit of kit.
Yeah.
There's a complete and utter the worst Amiga ever to work on.
Well, look at the SX64. They're worth between £1,000 and 1,500 quid.
Look at this.
Yeah, but that's Italian.
That just does count.
I want one of those as well for the collection.
This inside is terrible, I'm telling you now. I've opened it up and it's just full of corrosion.
Ooh.
So it's gone.
I think you can get them, can't you? Don't Amiga kit and stuff like that do them.
Yeah.
You can buy them because they work on CD32, I think.
Yeah, they do them for like 99 quid on eBay. I've seen them.
Yeah.
At least.
So what upgrades are you thinking of for yours, Tim?
Terrible fire.
There's a card you can shove on the back that gives you expansion for a processor card and also for a keyboard. I think there's two versions in that. There's one that does a PS2 keyboard and there's one that does a USB keyboard.
Yeah.
But I don't know which ones are actually still available.
Yeah, the original ones were the SX, weren't they, when it originally came out? But then, now the ones you can get are the Terrible Fire ones. They're good. They're the best ones to go for now. Terrible Fire 330. It'll run Doom, man.
That just does count.
It does. It runs Doom. I mean, that's what destroyed the Amiga, wasn't it? That's what they say.
Yes.
Yeah, when you think back of them days, when they were all coming up, we all had a separate systems, didn't we? You had Commodore, you had Spectrum, you had Amstrad, you had MSX. They all had separate systems, separate computer systems. And then once IBM started and PCs and stuff, they all drifted into PCs, what we've got these days now, and we've lost all that side of it. That's all that's gone, which is a shame, really.
No
and we just stuck with the consoles now, haven't they? All the rest of them have all dwindled away, and you've only got two main consoles left now.
Exactly.
You know,
I mean,
but there's nothing.
They've got PCs in as well.
Is what?
They've got PCs in as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Xbox is
They've
basically just a
gone
PC.
into Radeon, haven't they, and stuff. Yeah, AMD. Yeah.
Even right back to the original Xbox itself. I mean, that was just basically a PC inside there.
Yeah.
You know, but there's nothing. Each computer have their own characteristics. That's why you love Amstrads. Lee doesn't. I love my Commodores. I want keen on Spectrum. You know, everybody had their own little niche to each computer that they had, and they all loved them for what they were. And it's just a shame that in future we're not going to have that because we're all stuck on bloody PCs that'll just run everything anyway.
Yeah, you just keep upgrading them.
Well, that was what I was just about to say. It got to the point of, it don't work. Get a faster processor, get more memory. And that's what it is.
Yeah,
that's true.
And it's still bloody x86.
Yeah.
How many decades?
That's crackers, isn't it? That's cracking in itself. You know, we started off with the megahertz and it doubled and doubled and doubled, and we're on 32-bit systems. And now we're on 64-bit systems. How long have we been on 64-bit systems?
It's always around the board as well. It was slower.
Where's the 128 systems?
But then they were always slower around the board. Like the DX2 at the time came out, which run at 66. but it's still run at 33 round the board.
Yeah.
I mean, the only sort of variation in the uniformness of x86 is Apple at the moment doing their ARM-based stuff.
Yeah.
They're good. They're fast, aren't they? Yeah.
I mean, you've got your Intel, haven't you, and your Athlon computers. You know, you have got these slight differences there, but
yeah, but they're
Windows, they still do the same thing.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, they're still off the same architecture.
Yeah.
And the problem is, I think they're now stuck because if they move on to a new architecture to start giving us the speed increases and no backwards compatibility, and then everybody else will be like, "Oh, we have to have backwards compatibility."
Yeah,
well, that's
holding
where
us back.
They've screwed themselves really, because all the PC clones, they're all stuck with this backward compatibility and compatibility with each other. And if one jumps and the others don't, then the one that jumped is just going to be stuck with something that nobody's going to use.
Yep.
And Apple had the advantage of basically a monopoly. And they could say for their systems, well, we are going to go from, in the old days, it went from 68,000 based architecture to PowerPC. And then it went from PowerPC to Intel. These were complete architecture changes. And then it went from Intel to ARM.
Mm-hmm.
So they can do it. They can say, everyone, we are going to change and deal with it.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
That sounds like Apple.
If
£2,000 deal with it.
If IBM said that, everyone would have said, yeah, fuck off, we'll go and buy a Dell instead.
Yeah.
It's a shame, really. It's a shame because, like I said, they all have their own characteristics. They all have their own personalities, didn't they? And now it's just a PC sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's a bit sad, that side of things.
Yep.
They tried to do that with the MSX, didn't they?
What? I don't know. Cause I don't know.
Well, they did a standard with the MSX, so that every computer was built round the same standard. But then you could say that that's what they've done with the PC.
Left it up to manufacturers to go and make something that conformed.
Same with 3DO as well. One it Gold Star 3DO and Panasonic 3DO. That never caught on.
No. Well, you had the likes of the PlayStation that powered past all them lot, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
They couldn't compete with the PlayStation, could they, back then? That
was when that come out. That was the monster, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was light years ahead.
We literally jumped from platform games straight into 3D environments with PlayStation, which we don't see them steps anymore, do we?
No.
We don't see them leaps and bounds in technology and stuff like that.
We had VR. VR got good for a while.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day on PCs when we were jumping graphics cards, and it was like, okay, Voodoo card comes out, you could change your Voodoo card, and all of a sudden, where you had just water before, it's now translucent, and there's fish swimming around it, things like that. So you could see that jump. These days, between an Xbox One and an Xbox Series X, what do you see?
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
In a puddle and a little bit of lighting and a few texture displays.
But part of that problem is they're focusing on the 4K and the 6K and the 8K. It's steps in resolution, not an actual capability.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the problem then is that if you're going from like 4K to 8K, you've got to have your nose up against the screen to see the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. We're at the point where the human eye is the failure.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Especially wearing glasses. Look at it all.
That's why Apple call them retina displays, because
it burns your retinas.
Yeah.
The problem is every jump in resolution, it quadruples the processing power. What's required to actually display it?
Yeah. And we're just going round and round in circles, aren't we?
Double the resolution is 4 times the memory.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you do get a clearer picture. You take a 4K image and bring it back down and ram it into our TV sizes. It's getting clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer. You know, but
that's assuming that you keep the same bit depth.
yeah. But we're not getting anything. There's no leaps in technology anymore, is it? They're saying that they are, but we're only seeing little bits. A bit like when you want to do your car up and you want to add another 50 brake horsepower, so you put a turbo on it, say, and you want to add another 30 brake horse, so you put a race exhaust on it, and then you can't jump that big anymore. You can only go for an extra 5 brake horsepower that's going to cost you $3,000 for some injectors. You know, and the more you go up higher, them little small increments, the less and less you get, but the cost is higher and higher and higher and higher. And it seems to be a kind of similar way with the computers. You know, if you want a slight little bit better graphics or ray tracing, well, you've got to go out and buy yourself a £1,500 graphics card.
Yeah, that's true. That is with graphics cards, because like you can still run like a 1080 Ti and still play everything.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm on. I've still got a 1080 Ti.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't need anything else. That's what I always say to people.
No.
You can always go back a couple of generations, a top card, and still play everything. Yeah, you haven't got all your ray tracing and stuff, but to me, it doesn't make much difference anyway to the game.
Well, it's just a puddle. It's just
the game, yes, but there is a reason for going for the faster graphics cards. I mean, I upgraded specifically to 6800 XT so that I could get the processing power for video encoding.
Well, a 1080 Ti, what I have, has got 11 gig of video memory. And if I upgrade mine, I'm going to be putting another 1080 Ti in there and an SLI in it.
Can you do that?
Hey?
Can you do that?
Yeah, you still can with a 1080.
Yeah, you do SLI.
Yeah. I've got the SLI ready for it. I'm just waiting to find a cheap, decent 1080 Ti.
Power supply.
Because I will say,
power, you might get another extra 50%, but it's still going to give me 22 gig of video memory.
Yeah, because I mean, I went from an hour to encode a half-hour video on my 1080 amp to about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So it halved the amount of time it took to encode a video, and that for me, that was why I did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the games are concerned, I'm running 1080. So great. I get great frame rate, but it's still 1080.
I mean, I've had a PS5, and I know Lee's got one, and I've had the Xbox Series X, and I've sold them both, and I've gone back to the Xbox One X. I've still got 4K display. I can still play a majority of all the games. You know, there's sort of few that I can't, but who cares? Do you know what I mean? It don't matter. It's about the gameplay, not the graphics and stuff like that. There's just no point in spending high money on these new consoles just to have an extra candle in your picture, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
A bit of extra light in effect.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll admit most of my use for the graphics cards these days is in 3D rendering.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, I built my PC ages ago, and I built it to be a proper games machine. I mean, I think it were about $2,500 or something like that I put into it at the time. And I didn't want it just to be an internet browsing machine. And it's turned into an internet browsing machine, and now it's a video editing machine. Do you know what I mean? But it was crazy to spend that kind of money in it and not use it properly. But my intentions were to use it. I found as I'm getting older, I used to be solidly on games all the time, playing games all the time. And PS4, I was stuck on Destiny. I was solidly on it every night, running raids, teaching people how to do stuff, and I was on it all the time. But there's nothing now that actually grips me. I want a game where you can fire it up and go, wow, I want to get home from work and I want to fire that up and I want to play it. There isn't anything.
Supreme Commander.
And I built that PC for that reason. Do you know what I mean? And it still didn't do it. I pulled away from consoles. I thought I'd go back to PC. There's no on consoles for me. And it still didn't do it for me on computers. And that's why I sold my Xboxes and my PS5s. Because it was just like, there's no point. There's no point in just sitting on
Supreme Commander's awesome.
We still play that now. I play it a lot.
What's that?
Supreme Commander.
Supreme Commander.
At the time that came out, no PC could run it, and now we can run it.
Did you play the first one? Total Annihilation.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one. We play FAF. You know, what is it? Supreme Commander Forever, whatever it's called. The FAF edition we play. FAF. Should get on it.
That.
You need to get on it. Honestly, I love it.
Nice.
You're probably really good at it.
The
aren't
only
you?
thing really that grips me in terms of modern games is Flight Simulator.
That's
Yeah.
brilliant. The Microsoft Flight Simulator is absolutely awesome. But
Need
again, I
some
don't
power
need
for
the
that.
Series X for that. I can play it on my Xbox One X straight
Well,
through
yeah.
cloud.
Yeah.
What
But
I
they-
played a lot on was Elite Dangerous on VR. Was brilliant when that came out.
Yeah.
I've got it. I've still got to try it on VR.
It's amazing. Don't you be gobsmacked when you go to a space station and realise how big they are.
I tell you what'll happen. I'll jump into a system with a black hole and shit myself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Game over, man. It's game over.
Oh dear. Now I'm quite looking forward to this MSX build because for me the MSX I quite like, and I don't know why because it's very much like an Amstrad.
I
But
don't think I even saw one during the day.
no,
I
me
never did as
neither.
well.
You know, I picked two up on in my storage hall. I got two MSX 64Ks, but I've never even really heard of them before picking them up. So that's why I got the cartridges from PCBWay. I thought I'll get them and make a few games for it and try them and see what the system's like. And obviously, if I think it's crap and I don't like it, I can part with the system and bundle a few cartridge games in with it as well, sort of thing.
Oh, no,
They got-
I read about them, and I think there were a few came out in Japan, but very little came out in the UK.
Yeah, in Japan you had the Sony, they did one. You had Canon did one. There were a few manufacturers for it, and even in France, Philips did one.
But they were Japan only, and they didn't export them, and you couldn't get them here. And
You could, they just weren't common because I can remember going to W.H. Smith's back in the day, and they had the display, and I can still remember an MSX sat there, very weird looking system, and nobody ever went near it because nobody knew what it was. But yeah, I have to agree. Other than that, I never saw one again.
They got some Activision games on there, and they've got some really quite good versions of some of the classics, like River Raid, Pitfall, and yeah, it's really quite good.
Yeah. Well, did you go on with that bidding, Lee? That you were bidding on one, weren't you, on eBay?
Yeah, I got it.
Did you get it?
Yep.
Cool.
I ain't here yet, but
What is it?
it's the same as what Steve's got.
HX10 on MSX.
All right, okay. Do you get it at a good price?
Yeah, it's only 50 quid.
That's okay.
Didn't go up then.
No.
I saw that one. I was going to stick a bid on it. I thought, I bet that's that one.
Yeah. It's I've got some PCBs coming. That's the build I'm currently doing. I've got some cartridges to make a floppy disk adapter. Some cartridges the same as Steve, and some cartridges to make a flash cart for it. So yeah. So when the HX10 gets there, that'll be like a control. So if there's anything funky with this, I've got an actual real one to compare it to.
So that flash cart's going to be one that you can put SD cards into then, yeah?
No, you can flash it from the MSX.
Right.
So
okay.
the MSX has got a bit of a strange memory architecture. It's Z80 base, so it's still 64K range, but they use like a paging system inside.
Right.
So a lot of the games were 128, 256, or 512. 512 was really popular for cartridges. I know it sounds strange back in the 80s, but that's what they did.
Jesus.
And a lot of the games are 512K.
Well, they did it so they could access more memory, didn't it? Sort of thing.
Yeah. But the thing being is, it was very expensive for the chips back then.
Yep.
But it was still the most popular format. 512K mega ROMs.
Well, yeah. I mean, we went back to tapes, didn't we? We stuck with tapes because everything were expensive, and even cartridges for us to buy them for Commodore 64 and stuff were expensive, weren't they? I'd spotted one on eBay the other day. I think Neil Collins was selling it on eBay, and it was Double Dragon for Commodore 64. And I was watching that. That's quite a rare tape, is that cartridge? Is that? That's one that does play in the GS as well. I was watching it, and it were up at about £30, and then last minute it just went whoosh, 166, I think it sold for.
Jesus.
You know, but they are proper rare is that cartridge. The case wasn't. It were reproduction case and instructions, but the cartridge itself were an original cartridge. But I thought I'm not paying that kind of money for it.
It's the last 5 seconds, the price goes through the roof.
Well, that's what I do, Tim. I just wait till the last 5 seconds and bang down what I'm prepared to pay for it.
And then walk away.
You know.
then you either get it or you don't.
Yeah, you've got to do it. I think the most expensive. What's your most expensive game that you've ever retro game that you've paid for and bought?
I don't know.
Anybody?
No.
I don't think I've paid more than a tenner for anything, to be honest.
Only about 2024.
Saga.
I think the most expensive one I bought, well, I think it were about 135, and that was Ghostbusters on the Commodore 64 cartridge, and that came from Australia.
Oh, wow.
So that was about
You bought that?
Yeah.
Look at Steve.
It's over 200 quid now.
It's an investment.
It's investment, mate.
Actually, no. The most expensive game I bought for the 64 was the Ghostbusters cartridge I got off you.
That was cheap. That was cheap.
Oh dear.
They do look good, though, don't they? They do look good.
They do look
good. Stop it.
But otherwise, pretty much everything that I've got was basically bundled with it.
Yeah.
Oh, on an SD card.
Or it's on an SD card. Well, yeah. That kind of doesn't really count because
no.
I mean, I bought some Cytronic games.
A nice game, but everything else is like junk.
Yeah. I think Sam's Journey, I think it was about £35-40 for that. But that comes in a nice package, and there's a lot of things.
That's one of the new ones.
You can save your games to it as well. Save game option on the cartridge.
I know I'm going to have to spend a little bit at some point because I've been collecting the Ultimate Play the Game, but all formats, and some of those are just silly money at the moment.
Well, I found one in the storage. I think it was Jetpack that I found, and Neil said to me, he says, that's good money, is that? He saw one go, if I remember rightly, he's saying he's seen one sell for untested, and it went for 99 quid, didn't it? Yeah. I mean, I'm not money hungry. I don't want to sell high prices, so I put that. It were boxed, and it were cartridge on with that one, Neil, wasn't it? Mine were boxed, instructions and everything with it, and I also bundled in the adapter for the back of it to use it, and I just put it on Spectrum for sale for 100 quid straight away, and within 5 seconds, gone.
I think I got 2 ZX81s coming, by the way.
Ooh, nice.
With a 16K expansion.
Ooh, nice.
I think. I don't know. I'm sure that's what he messaged me the other day.
You fart too close to that and it'll crash.
Don't move the cartridge. You don't have to weld it to it. You'll have to solder pins.
No, apparently, I remember watching the video. What was it, Michael, man? And he said in that, Blue Tack fixes it.
No, it doesn't. From experience, no, it doesn't.
Sinclair user went to Sir Sinclair and he said, yeah, Blue Tack will fix it.
I think you can actually fix it inside, can't you? You can put like a 16K SRAM inside.
I don't know. I've no idea.
You can go much higher than that. I did an internal memory mod on mine. So yes, you can. But if you plug in the back, it will actually bypass the internal memory mod.
Okay. Soda will fix it.
Yeah.
That Ultimate Play the Game, if I remember correctly, they were mostly cardboard big black boxes.
And they had like a sticker on the front.
I've got a box of them somewhere behind here.
I had one called Imhotep for the
Yep,
C64
64.
back in the day, and that was in like a double cassette box,
Yes.
like a crystal. But
What happened was the guys that ran that ended up selling out, so the later ones are not actually the original guys, but they went on to set up Rage.
Right.
And are still they jumped ship and went to Nintendo, so they've actually still been and are still in production today. It's just no longer Ultimate, but it's the same brothers, I think.
Those cases, the black paper type ones like Star for Karnath and Entombed and stuff like that, they can't be weathering very well. Not after all this time.
You'd be surprised. You will be surprised. Most of the ones I've got are the cardboard ones. There are others, obviously, but yeah, they're actually weathering quite well. You do get some that look like they've been through the ringer.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Depends how they've been stacked, isn't it, and stuff like that. You know, if they've been stacked flat on top of each other, they just end up squashed, don't they, over time, especially if they've been put in a garage or something like that. If you've left them stood up on end, they might stand a bit more of a chance. But yeah, I haven't bought any 64 games for quite a long time, to be fair. The only one I've just recently bought to add to my Hit Squad collection was Nightbreed. So I've just purchased that one. I think that were about £40 to buy that cassette tape to add to that. You're looking, mate, but some of them Hit Squad games, you're looking at 200 quid, 300 quid. And even the Lethal Weapon, which is hard to find. Neil Collins again put that on eBay as a buy it now for 500 quid, and it went instantly.
Did you get that Nightbreed out of a box? There was like loads of tapes.
No, it's
I saw it in one and I tagged you in the post, but it must have sold when you got there.
Yeah, I mean, it was another lad that's in one of the other groups that I'm in. He messaged me through, and he said you've actually won some on his raffle. And all right, what's that? So he told me, and I didn't really want it. And he says, "Well, look," he says, I'll knock you some money off. I'll knock you £5 off, whatever you want. You know what I mean? So, and he said, "I've actually got a Nightbreed as well." I went, "Oh, that'll do me." So I got that off him. You know, so I'm getting down now. I mean, you were on about before, Lee, about buying stuff. I mean, I've just bought a load off Lee Thorley before June, I think it was like that. So yeah, about 38 Hit Squad games straight into the collection, and that cost me 400 quid.
Jesus,
is he still selling stuff?
Yeah,
that guy must have an entire fucking warehouse.
He buys stuff, mate. He just knows the people. He buys it and then he sells it back to community. He makes a fortune on the stuff.
My Amiga 500 come from him.
He actually bought. I think he said they were an old Dixon's shop or a Curry's shop or something like that had shut down and left everything in it. And he bought the entire stock from there. That's where when you look at my intros when I'm talking behind me, there's the Spectrum pack, the 007 Spectrum pack.
Yeah,
that's a brand new Spectrum 128. Is that it got taken home? They plugged it in, and it didn't work. So they took it back to its shop, and they put it on the shelf to return it, and then the shop shut. And when I got it, it was the internal fuse inside the power supply. I just changed the fuse, and it bust back into life. Obviously, you're not allowed to go into power supplies for warranty issues and stuff like that. And shop wouldn't. They'd only check it in the plug. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I've got that's absolutely brand fire new, really. Spectrum 128 007 pack. Everything's still sealed inside it and everything. So I bought that off for him. I think that were about 140 quid as well, but that were a few years ago now. But I thought that were a nice one to have in the collection with it being brand new. I will never part with that. I'll just hold on to that until I retire and I can start selling things and going on holiday. That's my intentions. So I bought the Commodore 64 Ultimate 64. So I've got that. That's sat in front of my telly downstairs. So that's my go-to machine if I want to play games on it. And that's what I'll keep into my retirement. I'll just keep that because it's got everything. It's all singing, all dancing. If I want to select 3 or 4 SIDs and have stereo and whatever music out of it, I can do. straight away. It's such a fantastic piece of equipment, is that? But then again, what I was on about emulation earlier on, wasn't I? And what is the ultimate 64 board? It's an emulated board at the end of the day, but it's an emulated board that gives you the original feel and the originality to the Commodore 64. You don't know any different.
Yeah.
Well, even with original hardware, eventually you're going to be stuck with FPGA replacement chips for them.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, you will.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean,
We're already going there, aren't we, with stuff like the Commodore Vic chip, even down to your ARM SIDs, stuff down to your PLAs.
Chips also.
Yeah, JCPUs, JCIAs, they're all coming.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you something. The Luma codes that I've been using, the ones that have worked, that is absolutely incredible. It looks like an emulator, but it's a real machine. The picture is crystal clear, and people might think, "Oh, I like a CRT. I like the authentic look." But for me, that crispness is something else.
Yeah,
just
on your video.
You notice that, I mean, I love my Commodore 64, and I always say this, but I love it so much that I know its flaws. Do you know what I mean? And the graphics, the sprites, they are blocky, but when you're using scan lines with CRT, it sort of smoothens some of them graphics out. Yeah. And if you're putting it on an LCD and having it crisp with them switched off, then okay, it looks crisp, but it doesn't look real, if you get me, sort of thing. It don't give you that nostalgic feel to it, sort of.
Or if you're just using composite on a LCD, it looks like smeary garbage, really.
Copper shit.
No, it's a bad.
Yeah. It's what I'm stuck with at the moment.
Fucking Neil loves that shit. Loves it.
Changing the channel there.
HDMI? No. Composite me up.
Exactly. Can't bolt it, mate. I mean, just one connector, easy plug in. It doesn't bend. You can't damage the connector. Honestly, yeah, they've gone backwards with HDMI, mate.
The problem I've got is that most of my monitors are VGA.
All these Xboxes and PS4, all broken HDMIs. You can't do that with composite. You can't break it, can you? So I mean,
I don't want bloody HDMI. I want bloody VGA.
Well, there you go.
RGB or VGA.
Well, VGA is mostly RGB anyway.
Yeah.
It
is. Yeah.
Pretty much, it's just double the scan rate.
That's the biggest problem I've got. Just shoving stuff into the monitors that I've got. That most of them only support 31 kilohertz.
Yeah. So you snookered for you like Amiga stuff in it, where it just pumps out 15.
15, yeah.
So you're honestly still stuck converting it to HDMI and then converting it back.
Go on, Lee, you're stunned.
I still can't get over this fucking compass shit stuff. It literally, it's like you can only get one step worse, and that's RF.
Little yellow mellow.
Well, if you can show me how to get HDMI from a ZX80.
Or HDMI out of an Atari 2600.
I can do that. I can do that.
There's probably a Luma code board for it.
There is. I
was watching a YouTube channel other night. I can't remember his name now. It's gone out of my head. But I was watching him, and he had that Luma code one, and it had like a VIC. It went into the VIC socket.
Yeah.
And then it pumped out HDMI straight out at the back of it, and it was awesome. It wasn't the Commodore, and he said that it works for that. They're on about making one. I think you bought it with the Copper Dragon thing. You've got the VIC 20 one, haven't you?
I've got the VIC 20 and the C128 one.
Well, this one that they were doing, it had an adapter with it where you plugged in a Raspberry Pi Zero and then you had HDMI.
Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
the Amigas worked, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 64, it worked for 64. He said it worked for other systems as well. And I'm sure he said it worked for the Atari 2600 as well.
Yeah, I've got it on the Dragon as well.
Mm.
If it's the one, I think it sat underneath the VIC-2 chip, and then it just went out to the
That's it, yeah.
the
The
modulator.
wires straight out on it.
So how's the 2600? Does it go on the tier chip?
As far as I'm aware, I didn't follow it because I don't know much about inside of the 2600s.
So
Yeah, you pop the chip.
I can't remember who he was.
You just put a daughter board in.
I'll tell you who it was in a minute when I find it.
Sorry?
For the Luma code, you just take the tier out, pop the carrier in, and pop it back in. There's two wires go to an RCA.
Yeah, I love 2600s because you can actually see the tracks and solder them as you're going along. It's the best. Everything's massive.
But as I found out today, if you plug Composite into Luma code, you plug it physically in, you still get the picture.
Yeah.
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 Well, that Luma code that come out on the 64, I think it was just HDMI. You had to put, even with the Raspberry Pi, you had to put the Raspberry Pi HDMI into another HDMI box so you could mix the audio in because it didn't bring the audio out.
That doesn't bring the audio out, no.
Yeah.
Well, I see. Composite does. One doesn't.
No, it don't.
You do. The red and white ones.
That's not Composite, that's fucking audio.
It goes with it.
Ah, that's bollocks.
Same but different.
Now, I have, when I built this MSX up, I have got some daughter boards coming that uses an FPGA to recreate the graphics chip, the TMS chip, and output HDMI. So that should be pretty good.
Definitely.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Should be pretty cool, should that? Well, time's rocking on, guys. So what I'm going to do is just drop Duncan out and Tim out. If you want to hang on for 5 minutes, we'll have a chat at the end of the stream, and then we can say as goodbyes. So thanks for coming on, Duncan. Really appreciate it. Good
Thanks for having me.
Right.
Thanks for coming on again, Tim. It's been absolutely cracking to see you again, mate. And I'll catch you in the group later on.
All right. Bye, guys.
See you later, guys. So it's been another great stream. We've had some right chats. We've had some good laughs. It's been absolutely brilliant. So thanks for watching, guys. And it's a goodbye from Retro Refix. See you later.
Goodbye from me. Bye.
See ya.
Catch you all later, guys.
Later.
Well done.